Hello guys and welcome to my channel again, and in this video I'm going to take you through everything you need to know about sending emails in Laravel. So we are going to use the current version of Laravel, which is Laravel version 9, and we are going to do it with the functionality of sending the newsletter email. We will assume that you want to send email to the newsletter subscribers. So every time that a subscriber subscribes to the mailing list using a form or email form on your website, you want to send them the email. So this is the example. Let's assume that this is my website. Of course, I've just done this roughly. Actually, I've just done it roughly for demonstration purposes. That's why you can see the design is horrible. So basically, you'll have somewhere where you have this input field where the one who want to subscribe to your mailing list will enter their email. So we'll assume that I enter the email, and after they enter the email and click on this subscribe to our newsletter button, you want to save the email to the database, and after saving the email to the database, you want to send a notification to their email to thank them for subscribing to the newsletter. And you also want to notify the admin that there's a new user who has subscribed to the newsletter. So that is the functionality that we are going to do. So let's just test this. So I've entered this email. This is the user who wants to subscribe to the newsletter. And I'm also registered with this email as admin. I've registered with this email as admin. And the email I'm using to subscribe to the newsletter is also a working email here. So meaning that if the email sending functionality is working well, I need to receive the email from the admin to the admin email here, and also need to receive an email that is going to be sent to the subscriber email here. So let's test it. So I'm going to hit on the subscribe to our newsletter button. And it loads for some time, and then it returns back here. But then behind the scene, what has happened is that the system has sent an email to admin and also an email to the subscriber. So let's wait for that email. It should come here to this is admin and this is the subscriber. So we should receive two emails, and those two emails should be different. Now, as you can see, the user has gotten an email here. The user who has subscribed, this is the subscriber, has gotten an email here, and you have the subject that says welcome to organization, and this is actually the application, and then here we have the title, and then we have the message. Thank you for subscribing to our newsletter. You will hear from us soon. And let's go to the admin email, and sure enough, you see we have email here, and the email says the user with the email saying this one has subscribed to our newsletter. Please add him to the mailing list. And now you can see that is what we are going to do in this video. So if you enjoyed this content, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more content. Thank you so much. Let's get started. Let me just show what I've done before we get to the same page. So I have this migration that I've created, and it is called email. It creates actually it's a model. It is a migration for email messages model. And basically it is going to create this table called email messages, and that table is going to have these columns: the title, the subject, the action, and the body. So I want us to have the dynamic messages. So that means that, let's say that you want to, when somebody subscribes to a newsletter, you want to send one email to admin, and you want to send another email to the user who subscribed to that newsletter. Then you're going to have two email messages. So in so doing, if we have this table and you have those emails set in that specific table, then you are able to retrieve those messages and send each message to a different user. Okay, so let me just go to the database. I'm just going to the database, and we are going to manually enter these details inside that table. So I've just saved and I migrated the migration, and it has already created the table inside our it is this the database. It is called lesson 2, and you can see have the email messages. So here I just want us to go to insert data there, and the title is going to be newsletter subscription, or anything you want to call it. But basically this is the title. The the user has subscribed to the newsletter. And then the subject maybe you can call it welcome to our organization, whatever you want to call it, but that is the subject of the email. And then we are also going to have action. So this action is going to be to differentiate which email is going to be sent to which user. So this one you can just call newsletter underscore subscription underscore customer. So this means that this particular message is going to be called when you are sending that email to the customer. And then this is the message. Thank you for subscribing to our newsletter. You will hear from us soon. So that is the message we are going to send to the customer, or to somebody who subscribes to the newsletter. So I want to add another one, and this one is going to be to the user. It is going to admin. So we can just do newsletter subscription, and then the subject is going to be new subscription. And then you can just do the user with email, and then the email of the user. Here we are going to have the email of the user, so you can just do email. Okay, the email of the user with email, that email has subscribed to our newsletter. Please add him or her to the mail list or mailing list, whatever you want to call it. So that no, this is not the action. This is actually the message. This is the message is going here, and the action is going to be newsletter subscription admin. That is the action. Okay. So I will show you how we are going to use those actions. So this one is going to be newsletter subscription admin. So admin, this one means that this email is going to be sent to admin. And I'm just going to use this to demonstrate how it works. So after that, I'm just going to click on the go, which is going to insert the data inside this table here. And now you see now we have 2 rows in this table. So we have the first one is the title is the newsletter. Basically, these are the messages that are going to be sent when a user subscribes to the newsletter, and it is going to be sent to admin and also to the customer. Okay, so you can see the action is going to be a new newsletter subscription, that is going to the customer, and this one is going to admin, because you want to send two different messages to two different people. Well, now that is it. So after that, let's go back to application and just create a simple form where we are going to get the email of the user, and then we are going to send the message. So let's just go to the web.php, and there we are going to create a new route. So we just take the route there, paste there, and we are just going to call it newsletter slash subscribe. Okay, so this one we can create controller if you want. If you want to, you can create a controller. But let's just create another controller actually. We will call it newsletter controller. So let's do PHP artisan make controller and we'll call it newsletter controller. Okay. So you've created it and here we're just going to use that controller inside instead of this function here. So instead of that method, we are just going to use newsletter controller. I'm using IntelliSense, so basically if I use it there, it is going to be imported there. But if you don't have PHP IntelliSense plugin in your VS Code, make sure you import this letter there, newsletter controller up here, because you are using here. Otherwise, it is going to throw an error. So class, and then the method is going, this one is just for showing the form. So that method is going to be called, we can just call it newsletter form. Newsletter form. You can call it anything you want, as well as say. So we have this controller. So we are just going to get this method and go to that controller. So let's just go to the newsletter controller. Newsletter controller, and you're going to create a new method. So public function a newsletter form, and here basically we just want to return the view that is going to render the form. So let's just go inside the views, that is inside the resources, and then views here, and we're going to create another file and we just call it newsletter.blade.php. Okay, and here we're just going to have just let me just do a basic scaffolding. I'm just do exclamation mark and hit on the tab key, and it's going to create this scaffolding. And you can just call it newsletter form. Okay. So here we are going to have Bootstrap form. So let me just get Bootstrap form code. So I'll just do Bootstrap form. And I'm just going to get a simple form like this one here. So I'm just going to copy this code and I'll go back to the application and paste the code. So basically I don't need these other things. I just need two things. The first is this email, and I don't also need this message. I just need that email, and then the name, I just give it email, and then here I can say subscribe to our newsletter, right? So basically that is it. That is it. So what I'm going to do, but I don't know, Bootstrap is not working in this. I've not imported Bootstrap, but that's okay. I don't know how it's going to look like. But let's just go to, we are just going back to the newsletter controller. I don't know why I have an error here. So it means that I import the auth. Let me just use auth. Okay, we are just going to ignore this error. It's not an error, actually it is an intelligent, PHP intelligent error. So we'll just ignore that. So let's just go to the newsletter controller. And here, let's close here. And here, what you want to do, we're just going to return that view file that you've created. So return view, and it's going to be newsletter. Yeah, basically that is it. So we're just going to return the newsletter and the view that you've created. This one here. Okay, so after that, so if we go back and try to do newsletter and then subscribe, unexpected route, get function, what is it? Okay, let's look at this. Web function. The problem is I have not put a semicolon there, so just save that, and now the error is solved. So let's go back to the controller and let's refresh. Instead, the route is not found, so let's remove that. Okay, let's look at it. It is newsletter and then subscribe. So you can see you have this form there, and it is because we've not included Bootstrap. That is why it's styled that way. So let's just get a Bootstrap CDN. Bootstrap CDN. Though I don't care much about the appearance because I'm actually focusing on I'm focusing on the functionality and not the design. Okay, so let's get the CSS. Let's get the HTML one, and we'll go back to the newsletter, and you're going to paste there. Let's paste it there, and after that, let's get the JavaScript, HTML. Let's go back. Just we are going to paste it inside the body tag here. And now Bootstrap should work there. But then let's enclose everything inside the container. So we just get the form, and we are going to create a container. And inside the container, we can paste our form there. Yeah, now you can see it is working. But I think I need to put this form inside a row. So let me just create a row, and inside the row I'll just do call md. I'll do call md6, and yeah, just do call md6 there, and I'll add another class offset md3. Yeah, 633. So this one is going to center the div. It's going to center that div along the x-axis. But then I just want to put their margin top of 5 so that it's pushed down from the top of the window. Yeah, so, and then the button there, we need to add another class here, margin bottom of 2. Yeah, now we have the email here, and we have this button for submitting the email where the user can submit the email. Okay, now since we have that, let's go back here and create another route that is going to be a post route. When somebody submits that email, is going to be handled by that post route. So just copy this route here and paste it below that, and change this to post. We are going to you have to use this one. I'm sorry for that. So let's just get this route, copy it, paste it below it, and change this to post. So you can just use the post in the same, and then but then you can do this uh, store. Okay, you can just do either. You can use a method called store email, or whatever method you want to use. So the store email there. So basically, this is going to save that email in the database. So we just get that method, and then we go to our newsletter controller. A newsletter controller is here, and you just get that method. So a public function, and this is going to take request, request as request. Okay, so request as request. Let's just remove this. And then the first thing you're going to do, if you want to validate, you can do that, but I'm not after validating. So you can just do email. We can just create actually. Well, I don't know if we have a newsletter table, but let's just create very fast. So let's just go to the terminal, and then you're just going to PHP artisan make model, and that model is newsletter. And then let's just get to this migration. It has been created. Let's get the migration, create newsletters, and what we are going to do is basically to add here another field. So table is going to be a string, and is going to be called email, and that's it. We save it, and we go back to the terminal and migrate it. So PHP artisan migrate. Yeah, so that is it. Now we have the table there. So what we basically do, since we are going to get this data here through the request, what we do is we just do a newsletter. This one, if I click on it a minute, so if newsletter, so if I click on it, it's going to import that model here. So make sure you import it if you don't have that plugin. I said it is called PHP Intelligence. So you can just install that plugin if you want that functionality in your VS Code uh, IDE. So after that, what I'm going to do is just to create a request and then email. Okay, now that is basically the functionality. This is not important because we are not to focus on this. We are to focus on sending the email. Now, the user has subscribed to the newsletter up to this point. Now, from this point, we want to send the email to admin to notify admin that the user has subscribed to the newsletter, and we also want to notify to the user to welcome the user. Okay, so what do we do? So now let's start with the email sending functionality. And the first thing you have to do is to go to the terminal, and you're going to create a controller that is going to handle the email sending. So you're just going to do PHP artisan make controller, and we just call it, we can call it email controller. And the controller has been created. So after creating the controller, you also need to create the mail class. So just do PHP artisan make mail, and you can just call it a mail master. I can just call it mail master, and that is going to be the master email sending class. So mail master, and that is it. So if we go to the code to our code here, you find that if we go to the app folder, you can see we have mail folder has been added here, and if we click on the mail folder, you see that we have our mail class here, right? And also if we go to the HTTP here controllers, we find that we have our email controller, and here this is where the logic is going to live. Okay, so let's now start. So what do we need? First, we need a function that is going to send the email. So public function send email. So this method is going to handle the email sending functionality. So what do we need to pass there? Now remember, when you are sending this email, you are either sending to admin or you are sending to the user. So this user, they only used email. So we can only get access to their email. But admin, we are able to access their details. For example, you can get the admin, the name of the admin, and the email and such details. So basically, let's go back to this, and we are just going to pass there. We are going to pass there the email. We are going to pass there the title. We need the title. We are going to pass there the subject. If you remember those details that we created, the subject of the email. We need the message or the body, and then we also need the body. I think those are the things we need. And you also need the email too. So you just call it to, but you can just call it the email if you want. You can call it the email. Right. So after that, now our functionality is going inside here. So yeah, basically what we need, we can just define details. And we can just define detail and set it equals to. We can just, I don't know how we can call it. We can just call it email details. Email details or credentials. Let's just call them credentials. And is equals to, you can just do an array. And the first one is the title. And just that one we are going to do title. And then the subject is going to be the subject. And then the body is going to be the body. And finally, email is going to be email. Okay, so let's just remove that. Now these are the credentials we will need to send that email. Now we are using this, we are passing this as parameters inside this. We are accessing them as arguments, but we are passing them as parameters inside the controller that we are going to call them. Right? We are going to call this method, right? So after that, basically here we are going to call the mail class and send that email. So we're just going to do mail, and we have to, so mail to. So this one is the user. Basically, this is the email of the user. Okay, so you can see mail to. So to, this is the user that you want to send that email. So the user basically is an email, right? So you can just do this email here. So you can just send to, and then you pass their email. And make sure that this class is imported up there. So let's just do this. Mail to, So if we just write it again, it is switch mail. So you can just do that mail to, and then this is going to be email. You pass the email to which we want to send we want to send that email, and here we just call the mail class that sends. So the mail class, because it is that mail master, so it is mail, then it is new mail master. So let's just do new mail. And now I called it. Is it? I think we call it mail master or something. So let's just look at it. It is mail master, mail master, mail master, and then you're going to pass their details. So let's just pass the detail, the credentials. All right. So this mail we have to import it. We have to import it. I think it is it is it is you have to use it here. So it just use illuminate. It is illuminate facades. Illuminate. It is illuminate support facades and then mail. Yeah. So you have to import that, and you also have to import this mail master if it is not imported there. So you can just do use app. It is app mail and then mail master. So you just make sure that you import these up here, right? You import them up there, and then I don't think you're going to use the request there, so you can just remove it. Okay, so now after this, remember now we are calling this mail, and then we are passing there the email that you want to send to, and then basically we are passing there the credentials there. And now that I think that we are done with we are done with this. Now we can go to the mail master class, and here let's just pass the details here. So let's just pass details there, the credentials there. Okay, and then you can just do these credentials is equals to credentials. So pass there through the construct method. You have to pass there through the construct method because we want to get these details and use them. And basically, we want to use them here. So we need to create a view file that the email template. So after that, what you want to do is just use those details. So just do we'll just do details. You can just do credentials or details. So I want to use details is equals to this, and then details. Okay, so we are now getting this not details actually. We need to get this credentials. So it is called credential. This and then credentials. Yeah, and now here we are just now going to send. So we are going to pass there just to pass there the subject, and after passing there the subject, we go to the template, the email template. So here we're just going to return this, and then we pass there the subject, and and then we return the view. So the subject of the email, remember that we have the subject inside the details here. So it's just going to be details and then subject. So this is the subject you pass there. And then after that, we are just going to return this view and you are going to create that view, right? So let's just go back to the resources, views, and you're going to create another folder. You can just call it mails. Inside the mails, you can just create a new file and we call it email template. Email template .blade.php. Well, and here we're just going to do basic scaffolding there. You can just call it a newsletter email. Okay, and here from here now we are going to do the details. Remember now we are going to send to this view here. So from the mail master, what we are going to do, we are going to change this view. So let's just select, we're going to change that view to mails, and we have it here, mails.mailmaster, and you want to compact the credentials. So just do compact, just the same way you pass data. So we compact credential details. Okay, so that is it, and that is it. So let's go back to the email template, and there you can just do h2, and the h2 is going to be you can just do hi, and this is going to be the name. Okay. Now, if it is admin, what you are going to do is doing hi admin. Okay. And if it is going to be maybe the newsletter subscriber, can just do hi esteemed user, whatever. Because you don't know the name, they only gave us the email. So what we can go back to the email controller, and you can just pass there the name, and you can make it empty. You can just set it to an empty string, and you can also pass there admin equals to an empty string. So I'm going to show you why I'm doing that. So these are optional parameters. So if they are based on how they come, so if we have admin here, we know that that email is to go to admin. So if we don't have the admin there, we know that the email is going to the newsletter subscriber. So let's do this. Let's go back to the email template, and here we're just going to say hi, and then here you can just do this details admin. So let's just do ternary operator here, just ternary operator here. So if not empty, details admin, we know that email is being sent to admin. So here we are just going to do if not empty, that's here. If not empty, we are using ternary operator here. So if not empty, what you want to do, we just want to send at the details, and then admin. That is the value that will be sent. So if it is admin, we are going to say hi admin. If it is the user, you are just going to use the name. Okay. But then if it is empty, we will know that email is being sent to the subscriber. So there, what you want to do, if it is empty, what you want to do, just do esteemed user or subscriber. Okay, so that is it, and that is it. This is actually the the heading, and then we may just have a paragraph here, and inside the paragraph we are going to do the body there. So you can just do details and then the body of the email, and that is it now. So we are done with the setting, everything. Let's go back to the controller, and now we want to go back to the place where now we call that mail controller, the method for sending the email. So let's go back to the newsletter controller. Now, after setting up the email template, what we want to do is to come to this newsletter controller, and inside the newsletter controller, we want to get the message that you want, the message that should be sent to the user and the message that should be sent to admin. So how do we do that? So the first thing is we have to import this email message class there, and then after that we can just do this subscriber message. Subscriber message is equals to email message, and then where action, where the action, you can get it by the action, and what email was to go to the subscriber. You can just get this action here. So we can use this action where action is equals to this newsletter subscription customer, and we only have one message there. And first, so that is going to get that row for the row that has the action, the title, the subject, and the body or the message that is to be sent to the subscriber. Okay, and then if we get it, okay, so if subscriber message, if we get it here, we want to send that email. But then before we send, we need to import the mail class here. So we can just do, we need to initialize the mail class. We can just do mail controller is equals to new email. It is called new email controller. Yeah, new email controller, and you have to import. I don't think in controller you have to import it. You just use new email controller, and this is referring to this email controller. And after calling it, you can now use the method. So the method is send email. So you can just do mail controller and then send email. And now here we pass the parameters that is need, the parameters that are needed. Now you can see if we click there, the first parameter, if we go back to the email controller, the first parameter is the title, the subject, the body. So here let's just pass there the title. And the title is coming from, remember the title is coming from the database. So it's coming from this. So it is going to be subscriber message and then title. And then the next parameter is the, you have to pass that is subscriber message, and you need to pass there the subject. We don't need action because action was just to pull it from that specific message from the database. And then we need the body. So it is going to be subscriber message and then the body. And now remember you have the optional parameters. Remember you see it is throwing, it still shows that there is an error because here it expects how many parameters? It expects 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But you pass there how many? You have passed there only 3. So that is the body and then the email. So the email is going to be the same email here. If we are sending to the subscriber, it is going to be the same email here. The same email that comes through the request, I mean this one there. So that is the last mandatory parameter we have to pass. So we just do request and then email. And now as you can see, now we don't have that error. But now we have optional parameters. So what you want to do, that email, this email is not going to admin. So you can either just leave it like that, or we can pass other parameters if we want, but let's just leave it like that. And basically that is it. So that is going to send that email. And then let's now, this is for the one that is going to the subscriber. And what about the admin? So the admin, you also have to fetch that row from the database. So just do subscriber admin. So admin message is equals to email message where action. So we are just getting that by action, and it is newsletter subscription admin. So this was going to be to the admin. That is why we are given that name. So instead of customer, we change it to admin. So this is going to admin, and we follow the same. We follow the same thing. Oh, first you have to do first so that it gets just one item. Okay, so after that, we'll just copy this code and paste here, and now we change this to if admin message, right? If admin message. So this is going to be mail controller send. So instead of this subscriber, we are going to use admin. So that one, just change it to admin. And now admin, we can pass their admin, we can pass their other parameters. So the fifth parameter was a name, which we just want to leave it empty string, and then the last was admin. So we can just say admin. So it is going to be to say hi admin. Okay, so hi admin, and basically that is it. So basically that is it. But now this admin is going to be a bit different. Let's say you have more than one admin in your database. So what do you do? Like the email that, remember, admin, we are not going to use this one here because that is the email that the subscriber submitted. So admin will have to get the user from the database who is admin. So I don't know, let's just go to the form. I don't know if we have any users registered in the users form, but let's just try to look at that. Okay, we have users, these users, but I don't know, we don't know any because these are not auto-generated. So what we want to do is to create another user. So let's just go here to the home page. And I'm just going to register another user. So register. And I'm just going to register with that email and password. Okay, so I've registered there. I've registered as admin. I've registered, but I'm not admin. I just want to. I'll just use that email, but of course, you know the logic. You are able to get the user who's admin. So let me get my email. You see, this is my email. So I just do where the email is this. Okay. So what you want to do, we can use the user class there. So you can just do this. Admins is equals to user where, okay, so where, of course, here you are going to use something else. For where is admin is equals to true or is 1, and you get all those users who are admin. But in this case, I'm going to use email, where the email is equals to that. I'm just using this so that you can get my email there, and then we just get. So after getting that, remember that we may be having more than one admin. So how do we approach that? So we loop through. So we basically loop through and make sure that we import the user model here. So just the use app models and then user. Okay, so here we basically loop through all these admins and send the email to each. So use um, for each admins as admin. And now here is the way we send the email. So this the title is going to be the title, the message, but this email is going to be admin email. Just going to be admin and then the email. And that's it. So here it's going to send to all the admins. So it is going to loop through. If we get more than one user here with this credential, then using this, then we have many users and we are going to send to each one of those admins. So we don't assume that we have one admin. So that is basically that is the logic. Well, now after that, it remains one thing, and that one thing is configuring this. You can see this email section here. You need to configure these details. Now, so let me just get the test credentials that I'm going to use. So this email section, this mail section in the .env file, this is how you set it up. So the mailer is going to be SMTP. That is if you are using SMTP. And then the mail host. Let's say that you've set up an email in the cPanel, then the host is going to be mail.yourdomain.com or whatever your domain name. So it can be, for example, mail.simon.com. That is going to be your host. And then mostly port is going to be port 463. And then this is the mail, the mail that you are going to use to send. So that means that when somebody receives the email, they are going to get that the email came from this, or this is the email that sent that specific email. And this is the password. So the password to this email, remember that. And this is mail encryption. Mostly it is SSL. And then the mail from address is basically the same email. So where the email came from, and this is going to be the app name. So make sure that the app name is going to use this. So make sure that you change that. So let me just use change that. Simon's Tech School, and I'm just using that for testing. And these are basically the configurations. So after that functionality and you've done that, what I've just done here, then it should work. Now let's now test it. So basically what I'm going to do is I have two emails. The email that I'm using, that I'm registered with, is a working email, and also the email that I'm going to use to subscribe to subscribe to that newsletter is another email that I also use, so that we can see if the emails will come there or will be sent there or not. So before I forget, let me just say after this, let me just add there return back. So that is after sending the email to just return back to the form. So that's it. So let's test it. So I'll go to newsletter and then subscribe. And then here, okay, now I'm going to open those two emails. So on this first tab, I'm going to open this email. You can see it is simonabook@gmail.com. I'm just going to open that email. And you see this is the latest email that you have from Quora. And also I want to open another one that I'm going to use to subscribe to the newsletter. So I'm going to use this Simon casting words. And so let me just go to that, to the inbox. And you can see this is the latest email. So let's test it now. So basically I'll go here and write that email, simoncastingword@gmail.com, and hit on subscribe button. It has come back. It should have sent. I don't know. It looks like it has already sent the email. So we'll wait and see. So let's go back to the database and see if that email has been saved. Okay, so to the newsletters. No, it has not been saved. It has not been created. Oh no, we've not included that route in the we have not included that route in the newsletter. So let's just go to the newsletter form. And in the newsletters form here, you first have to include CSRF token. And here we can include action. And the action, you can just come back to the web here, and we are just going to give it a name. The route, we're just going to give it a name of email.store. And we go back to the newsletter .blade.php, and there we're just going to put that action that we created, which is going to be route, and that route is newsletter. It is email.store. And remember, the method is post. So let's just define the method as post. Yeah, and that is the final thing you have to do. And let's go back and refresh. Okay, let's refresh. Let's remove this and hit enter. Okay, so now we can test. So I'm just going to use this email and hit on subscribe. And now we have an error. It says that eliminate database build create. Let's go back to the controller. Let's go back to the email newsletter controller. So newsletter controller, this store method we did create, which is wrong. So we did this. We just passed their email, which is a string, which is wrong. So you need to have said email is equals to request email. So create email request email. Yeah, and that should solve that problem. So let's refresh and try again. Okay, mass assignment. So I always forget the mass assignment problem. So let's go to the newsletter, a newsletter model here, and we can just do protected fillable is equals to and add their email. So protected fillable, let's just add their email because you're using mass assignment. And go back and refresh and try it again. And you see it has come back to here. It has not thrown any problem, it has not thrown any error. So it means that it has already sent the email, because for it to come back here, it means that it has sequentially executed this instruction here, which includes sending the messages to admin and to the subscriber. So let's just go to this and wait, because it is going to take some time. It's going to take some time before it comes to this email and also this email, but I'm sure it is going to be sent to those emails. Now there you go. You can see that this email has been sent here, and if I open it, you can see, "Hi, esteemed subscriber. I thank you for subscribing to our newsletter. You'll hear from us soon." And again, if we come here, you can see it has been sent here too, but now it is a different email saying, "The email this has subscribed to our newsletter, please add him or her to the mailing list." And basically, those are the messages that we defined here, where each is going to admin and another one is going to admin and one is going to the user. And you can see that is how they have been sent. This is for admin, which has been sent to this image that are registered as admin, and this has been sent to the subscriber who subscribed. Now maybe you are seeing this here, you're wondering why this. You can easily do away with that by going to the email controller, and here you can just do formatted subject is equals. You can use str or string replace. So you can just do string str replace, not repeat, str replace. So let it replace that, it is email, and then you replace it with we basically want to replace it with the email, and then what are we are replacing inside the subject, inside, not the subject, inside the message or the body. It is called the body. So we get the body that comes through the request. This is the body, and then in the body we replace this, and where we have this, we replace it with this, with the email of the subscriber email. So and then after that, we use now this formatted subject instead. So just copy this formatted body. Let's just call it formatted body. So just use this formatted body, and just use it here. Now let's save it, and after saving it, you are going to resend the email again. So let's just resend that email again. Unexpected namespace. So yes, should be formatted body. Yeah, that is that way. So you go back and try to resend again. Yeah, it has been sent. So let's wait for the emails. Let's go back to. Let's wait for the emails. Okay, and now you can see this is the email that has been sent to the subscriber. Just the same thing as team subscriber. So you can see this is the subject, this is the title, and this is the message. Okay, so let's look at the one that's been sent to admin. And now you can see that this one now has been replaced with the email. So the user with the email, this email has subscribed to our newsletter. So basically, that is how you send. That is all you need to know about sending emails in Laravel. So in case you have any questions, let me know in the comment section, and I'm going to respond to you. So if you find this content helpful, you can also consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much.